2014 in the midterms, the fate of immigration reform on Capitol Hill appears increasingly uncertain. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had this to say on Tuesday about the issue.
I think we have a sort of an irresolvable conflict here. The Senate insists on comprehensive. The House says it won't go to conference with the Senate on comprehensive and wants to look at step by step. I don't see how you get to an outcome this year with the two bodies in such a different place.
All right, joining me now to talk about the future of immigration reform as we look at this year and the following years, Arizona Congressman Raul Grijalva. Thank you so much for being with us, Representative. And, you know, when you look at what's there, as you're on the Hill there, you look across the aisle, you see the House Republicans like Boehner and Ryan, the leadership, right, moving towards some progress. You got Tea Party members working against that. And now you have Senate Republicans, at least Mitch McConnell, with some negative foreshadowing, shall we say. Are you pessimistic that this is going to happen this year or even before 2016?
I want to be, and I need to be optimistic that we're going to make some movement on something that begins to address the dire circumstances for many families, the workforce demands, the economic reality of the issue of immigration reform. I continue to be optimistic, but you know, it's becoming a little bit of a political tease on the part of House Republicans and even the Senate Minority Leader, saying we want to, but we can't. In some instances, we don't trust the president. In others, we have to make sure the border's secure before we do anything else. In other instances, is it citizenship path, a legalization path? What is it? So we continue to see these delaying tactics that I think do not help the question at all.
We've got the speaker who came out with that one-page structure on perhaps a step forward. I want to get your opinion on it. First of all, do you support it, and do you believe that they are actually going to try to implement that?
In the process of consultation and compromise, at this point, you know, as I've said, there's more questions and answers in that one page. But if the intention of the Republican conference and the majority in the House is to make some movement toward addressing family unification, addressing the workforce issue, the economic issue, the human toll issue, then if that's the framework they want and guidelines they want to work with, let's sit down and make that situation better. But at this point, it is just a sheet of paper with more questions than answers.
It looks like you're looking at a good cop, bad cop, and something in between as well when you're dealing with this on the other side. I want to talk about the CBO report, which you're very familiar with here. The CBO director testifying on Capitol Hill right now, which is where we started the hour. Takeaway here is the U.S. economy slowing down due to the baby boomers retiring and shrinking, and that labor force shrinking with them. But passing the Gang of Eight's immigration reform would add millions of jobs, and that's been the estimation so far. Does the CBO report help your argument?
You know, it's kind of interesting. The CBO report on the Affordable Care Act, you know, the Republican leadership is using that like a bludgeon to talk about deficit and job losses. That's not really what the report said. But on the other hand, on immigration, it said $1 trillion reduction in the deficit and up to 2 to 3 million jobs created across this country would be the benefit of comprehensive immigration reform. The fact that it's falling on deaf ears in the Republican leadership leads one to wonder if the CBO report in one hand is a political convenience, and the other, because it isn't a political convenience, it doesn't support any arguments they have against immigration, they don't talk about it.
Do you believe that the CBO report, because now that it gives some ammo to those who are against the Affordable Care Act, that will now be the main message that you'll hear from Republicans, and therefore a way of averting any progress on immigration reform?
Unfortunately, I suspect that this CBO report that, you know, doesn't entirely, the spin is different, the Republicans are using, that's not what it says. But the fact remains it's going to become a political bludgeon for the next month or two. The CBO report on immigration said the opposite, that it is a benefit to the economy, to jobs, and to deficit reduction, yet we don't hear a peep from them on that.
All right, thank you so much, Congressman Raul Grijalva, for your time today.
Thank you.